Tonight, people living near the Greenwood fire are getting an update on evacuations and damages to their homes and cabins. Plus, Minnesota's governor addresses the growing wildfires in northern Minnesota today, saying the state is here to help. And later, chaos in Afghanistan led to fatalities and injuries to both American troops and Afghans. We'll have the latest from Kabul.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Baki. Thanks for joining us. The Greenwood fire grows in size, as does the number of people fighting it. 26,000 acres are now burning near Isabella. The southeast side of the fire grew by about 5,000 acres in the last 24 hours. There is no containment, and as we first reported last night, about 70 buildings have been destroyed, including 12 homes and cabins. 3 others are damaged. More are in the fire's path, and that's why 476 people are now involved in fighting the flames. Structure-wise, this is the most destructive Northland wildfire since the Ham Lake fire in 2007. Thankfully, we have no injuries to report. Tonight, another public meeting is being held in Finland for those looking to learn more about the Greenwood fire. CBS3's Natalie Grant is live for us at that meeting tonight. Natalie, what are some of the things expected to be addressed at this meeting?
Well, Kristen, that meeting started just moments ago in Finland. I'd say there's probably about 30 people in the audience as of right now, but people are still trickling in as the meeting gets going here. Now, that crowd tonight is going to be made up of both concerned community members as well as impacted individuals from the Greenwood fire. Officials are telling me that this meeting will provide an update on the firefight, what growth they have seen within the last day, as well as information for people who have been evacuated or have lost their property. Lake County Emergency Manager Matt Pullman says the 12 lost structures were most likely cabins.
Mostly were cabins, seasonal or recreation, but that doesn't mean that no one was living in there. And obviously, a lot of these cabins have been in people's in people's families for a long, long time. So any loss is obviously devastating.
Well, that meeting is also being live streamed tonight on the U.S. Forest Service Facebook page for those who are not able to make it in person and would like to follow along live. Now, coming up tonight at 10, we'll have more on what was discussed at tonight's meeting, as well as hearing from some of those impacted homeowners. But for now, we'll send things right back to you. Kristen.
Natalie Grant in Finland for us tonight. Thank you, Natalie. Well, 2 fires burning in the Boundary Waters seem to be slowing. The John Eck fire, burning south of Little Sag Lake, remains about 1,500 acres. After more than doubling in size Monday, the fire stayed steady for 2 days. Now, that fire has forced the closure of the upper portion of the Gunflint Trail, and it has put residents in pre-evacuation mode. The Whelp fire, northwest of Sawbill Lake, also showed no growth. It remains at 50 acres. Firefighters and resources are being moved into the Whelp fire today. The John Eck fire will continue to be monitored by air. Some local dentists work together to help crews on the ground battling the Greenwood fire. Arrowhead Orthodontics said when they saw the news about the fires, they contacted the USDA to see how they could help. The agency requested dental supplies for firefighters and paid postcards so the crews could write home. Arrowhead worked with other dental offices to gather more than 500 toothbrushes, 300 tubes of toothpaste, floss, and mouthwash. They're printing the postcards and hope to have it all delivered by the weekend.
It takes a village to get through these events when they happen. And so, it took us to step up and start raising these supplies to help the brave men and women fighting them.
The dentists say depending on how long the firefight goes, they'll be ready to gather another load of supplies for the crews on the ground. Well, moving to Park Point, just like earlier this week, the Duluth Fire Department has issued a warning for dangerous swimming conditions on Park Point beaches. Rip currents can be life-threatening to anyone entering the water, so they're asking everyone to stay out of the lake until at least 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Well, Dave joins us now for a first check of the weather. Dave, any more rain headed our way?
Yes, there should be more rain coming our way. We just got teased a little bit here today. Let's get into the alerts because you just mentioned one. The National Weather Service calls it a beach hazard alert, but it's pretty much the same thing the fire department issues for Park Point and Wisconsin Point Beach. And bottom line is, Weather Service says till 9 o'clock tonight, fire department says till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Rip currents are possible. Not a good night for swimming. Not a good night for boating either. Small craft advisory for the north and south shore of Lake Superior. And the air quality alert that's been plaguing Minnesota for so long conquered Wisconsin today as well. That should stay in effect until about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And as usual, we're hoping for a low pressure system and its rain to wash that smoke out of the sky. The first wave that came through today fizzled as it came into our area, leaving not that much in the way of accumulations, but several more chances are coming, perhaps all the way through Sunday. So our short-term forecast says 50% chance for more rain tonight, 60% chance on Friday, and maybe 60% as well on Saturday. We'll talk about how much could come down coming up in a few more minutes.
Thanks, Dave. Minnesota's governor spoke publicly about the Greenwood fire for the first time today. CBS 3's Quinn Gorham listened into the conversation to learn how the governor hopes to help the Northland.
Governor Tim Walz and both of Minnesota's U.S. senators who also sat in on the briefing want to make sure crews fighting the fires have as much support as possible. The main focus of the briefing was the Greenwood fire. Brian Pisaric, one of the commanders for the teams in the front lines, says their main attention right now is on the eastern side of the fire. That's where many of the structures that were destroyed or damaged were. Now he says keeping the fire out of Isabella is the next priority. When the senators and the governor asked how they could help, Pisaric said they could always use more bulldozers to help clear debris, along with food and water for the firefighters. Meanwhile, Senator Amy Klobuchar says she's working across party lines to help find ways to help.
I talked to Congressman Stauber today, and I know he's been around, and we talked at length about some of the issues, and we're just ready to help in any way that you need.
And as those crews continue battling the Greenwood fire, Connie Cummins with the U.S. Forest Service added they're closely watching the John Eck fire in the Boundary Waters. She called it a time bomb that could explode given the right conditions. Governor Walz said Minnesota has received support from leaders across the country, including Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, who offered Wisconsin's help if it's needed. Last week, Walz also activated the Minnesota National Guard to help battle the fires, which Forest Service officials say has been a huge help as they continue fighting those fires.
Thank you, Quinn. Minnesota State Senator Tom Bach represents much of the impacted area. He turned down our request for an interview today, but when we asked for a statement, he said his heart goes out to people who lost their property and those who are in harm's way. Bach thanked first responders and said he's committed to doing everything he can to support the region as we deal with this natural disaster. An overnight kitchen fire has destroyed parts of a bar and restaurant in Duluth's Lincoln Park neighborhood. The fire first broke out at Spoon's Bar and Grill around 2:30 this morning. Flames were coming out of the building when crews got there. They put the fire out, but it flared back up around 11:40 this morning. Damages are estimated around $100,000. The cause is under investigation. No one was hurt. The Pentagon says 13 U.S. service members were among the dozens killed in suicide attacks outside the airport in Kabul. 14 more U.S. service members were wounded. The Pentagon says thousands of evacuees are still being processed at Kabul's international airport after nearby attacks killed several U.S. service members and many more Afghan civilians. The president addressed the nation amid heightened criticism over his administration's handling of the situation in Afghanistan.
To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
As it stands, the Pentagon believes around 1,000 U.S. citizens are still in Afghanistan. They added more than 100,000 Americans and allies have been evacuated since the end of July. We're still waiting to hear whether the 1,100 Minnesota National Guard soldiers serving in Kabul are okay after today's bombings. The soldiers are helping with airport security alongside active duty Army and Marine units. The Guard members are also providing humanitarian assistance to people evacuating, including U.S. citizens and Afghans. Public affairs personnel were unable to provide an update on whether the Minnesota Guard members are safe. They didn't know when that information would be available. Congressman Pete Stauber says he's heartbroken by the loss of our U.S. service members. In a statement, Stauber said he's praying for families now dealing with this devastating loss. He blamed the Biden administration for what he called the botched withdrawal of U.S. service members. Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, 14 years later, after the Ham Lake fire, folks near the Gunflint Trail are preparing for the worst once again. We'll share their story next.
Rain deficit for August now stands at about 2 1/3 inches, but we could carve into that deficit fairly well this weekend. First of the rains coming already for some towns today. We'll talk about the odds of tomorrow coming up right after our break.
You're watching the CBS 3 News at 6 with Kristen Vaki, sports with Kelly Hinseth, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live Local CBS 3.
At Lift Pro International, we have custom designed and fabricated lifting, weighing, and rigging solutions for more than 40 years. With a worldwide presence and reputation, we need world-class insurance to match. This is why we trust Cindy of Vernon Insurance to make sure we're fully covered no matter where in the world we're doing business.
Protect your home, vehicle, or business, and your peace of mind. Call Cindy at Vernon Insurance today.
Important healthcare announcement. If people tell you your TV is too loud, or if listening in some environments has become difficult, we are requesting your participation in a special program called the 30-Day Challenge. Hearing Life Hearing Centers are seeking people with hearing difficulties to evaluate a new digital mini hearing aid now being released. To take part in this event, you must call. Please get a pencil and write down the number below. All people with hearing aids or hearing difficulties are wanted to take part in the 30-Day Challenge, evaluating a new high-tech device that sits discreetly behind your ear. This hearing aid is Bluetooth enabled and is rechargeable. All hearing assessments are performed at no charge for those taking part in the challenge. Participants will try these hearing aids for 30 days. Call the number below and take the Hearing Life 30-Day Challenge.
Kids and dogs, you gotta love them. But when in the wear is too much and it's time to replace those floors, visit Cloquet Flooring for fresh ideas.
Hello, I'm Shelley. We all know replacing flooring in your home is a sizable investment. With Mohawk's All Pet Protection and Warranty covering all pets, all accidents, all the time, we've got you covered. Contact Cloquet Flooring today to get your free in-home estimate or visit us online at cloquetflooring.com. See our virtual showroom.
Serving with hometown pride, Cloquet Flooring.
Not all internet is created equal. If you want internet that's even faster than advertised, if you want Wi-Fi on Mega Blast, if you want enough power to power all the things, that's asking for more than a lot. That's demanding extreme, and you deserve it.
It's going to be perfect. This summer, your favorite celebrities return to their hometowns.
It means the world to me to be back in Boston.
And get to work.
I'm going to just call you Demo Girl. This is for every guy who ever played.
I wish we got that in slow-mo.
Welcome to your new home.
Oh, man. It's a new beginning.
I don't even know what to say.
This is just unbelievable. Sheer happiness.
Secret Celebrity Renovation. New Fridays or stream anytime on CBS.
CBS 3 News is brought to you by Fond du Duluth Casino. CBS 3 Weather is brought to you by Lake Superior College. Now, the CBS 3 Duluth WeatherMax forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
The first of 3 low-pressure systems making its presence felt today hasn't done much in the way of rain accumulations, but we can call it a start. 3/100ths of an inch in Hibbing, about 1/10 of an inch towards Aiken, 2/100ths here in the Twin Ports, though it seemed a little bit sassier than that earlier, and 6/100ths for Siren. But with 3 lows lined up to come across, if this first wave fizzles just a bit like it seems to be doing, there should be several more waves all the way through Sunday. We'll talk about what's coming our way as far as accumulations in just a bit, but here's a look at the current conditions from Duluth International. 62 degrees is the current temp, 75% is our relative humidity, so that's juicier than the past couple of days and hopefully will help ease the fire threat at least a little. Easterly, northeasterly winds running 13 miles per hour, but could go as 10 to 20 at least through tomorrow, and that's why we're looking at those beach problems with the rip current. So not a good night for swimming. Air pressure at the ground is high at 30.19 inches of mercury, but low enough aloft where we're getting the clouds and the start of the rain chance that we've been so desperately craving. Current temps 67 to 70 for the Upper Peninsula and 64 to 69 in northwestern Wisconsin, the cool spot being Superior and the warm spot being Hayward. Siren's a little bit warmer, and Hinckley, folks there are at 70. In Minnesota, we're looking at a range of 55 up the Gunflint Trail towards 64 degrees or so down around Moose Lake, including Hibbing, and very close to that is Grand Rapids. Lows tonight likely 40s and 50s, and tomorrow daytime highs similar to today's, probably running, I'm thinking, about 65 to 70. So tonight, the first of these low pressure systems is bringing the rain chance. It's about a 50-50 shot, and then it's backed up by a couple more here. So the rain chance should be going from Friday all the way through Sunday, with 60% shots on Friday and Saturday as well. And so that first business coming in for Friday could look like this for accumulations by the end of Friday evening. And it looks pretty enthusiastic here according to the Euro model. And even if it doesn't get that big, well, maybe it'll do something. You know, a quarter inch to a half inch seems more realistic, but even could approach a full inch the farther south you go. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that this comes true. Tonight, here's what could come true in Minnesota. Low temps, I'm thinking in the 40s in places like the Embarrass Valley, but otherwise 50 to 58 degrees in the higher elevations, 50% rain chance. 60% chance for Wisconsin and the UP, with lows there in the low to mid 50s. For tomorrow, cooler than normal, normal 74. Wisconsin and Michigan should go 66 to 71, with a 60% chance for those rains coming across. And in Minnesota, it's also a 60% chance, with high temps as cool as 62 up the North Shore to as warm as 70 down towards Moose Lake. Here's the extended forecast, and with those three lows, we get, well, we'll say 3.5 to 4 rain chances. The best of the bunch Friday and Saturday with a 60% shot. Then come Sunday, it's a 40% chance for some showers. After that, we do dry up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Our high temps go back into the mid-70s, but by next Thursday, another round of rain could be on our doorstep then.
Thanks, Dave. As fires continue to burn in the Boundary Waters, the Gunflint Trail remains in the pre-evacuation zone. Residents are prepared to leave if the situation worsens. As CBS3's Kendall Jarbo explains, this isn't the first time people in the area have gone through a similar situation.
In May of 2007, a campfire ignited the Ham Lake fire.
Here's the latest on the Ham Lake fire. The leading edge of the fire has moved up into Canada now.
It went on to burn 75,000 acres and destroy hundreds of properties.
It was very hard to see these people, just they lost so much, and it was very sad to see that.
Bonnie Schutte remembers it well. She worked at Gunflint Lodge and Outfitters during that fire.
Yeah, we were able to evacuate really good and get the guests out. We went around cabin to cabin and was informing the guests that they needed to evacuate just because of how close the fire was to our area.
The Gunflint Lodge survived, but neighboring buildings didn't. Now, more than a decade later, new wildfires threaten the region, so they're preparing once again. If it's needed, the Gunflint Lodge has fire suppression equipment installed across their property. It's a sprinkler system they're testing every day.
We have sprinklers throughout the property. Tons of work has been done on that. So we feel, we're pretty protected because people up here after the Ham Lake fire, it was evident which places had sprinklers and which did not.
Many lessons were learned on the Gunflint during the Ham Lake fire. While prepping for wildfires isn't a new task, that doesn't mean it's easy.
We have worked numerous jobs just to create a little life of our own up here, and it's hard to afford land and then build a house. So yeah, it was kind of like very scary that you think, man, everything could be wiped out.
Schutte says the Gunflint Trail community has always taken care of each other, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Well, Kelly is here now for a look at what's happening in sports on this Friday Eve.
Yeah, the air quality is definitely putting high school athletics and all sports that are outdoors on alert. Coming up next, how athletes are adjusting. That's coming up.
Order your 2021 Polaris side-by-side now from Duluth Lawn and Sports.
CBS3 Live Cams, brought to you by KohlerChef.com, now featuring the Kohler Express Deal online buying solution. KohlerChef.com, a better way to buy.
Fire threatens everything in its path. When it threatens our communities, we respond. We bring the fight to the front line. The Army National Guard stands ready because sometimes the front lines are in our own backyard. We will always be there when our community needs us the most. Find out more about serving your community part-time by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Welcome to Medical Insight, a weekly healthcare feature brought to you by the experts at Essentia Health. Here's your host, Louis St. George.
Who will advocate for you during a time of serious illness or injury? Today on Medical Insight, Essentia Health's Wanda Paulson and Dr. John Dagalow talk about advanced care planning.
Advanced care planning is the best way we have found to incorporate an individual's goals, values, and beliefs into the care that we provide. It's a way to think about, talk about, and write down your wishes for future health care if ever a time happened where you couldn't speak for yourself. A lot of people think that it's for those that are very frail or elderly, or that we expect something could happen to them in the near future, but it's really important for everybody to start having those conversations.
It's important to get a signed healthcare directive on file. Also, be sure to review it regularly in case your wishes change.
In a way, when we look at advanced care planning, it's kind of having some insurance about your hopes, wishes, things that are important to you being respected. Advanced care planning is an important thing that we all have to think about, because all of us in the course of our lives at some point are going to have a serious illness. If you're able to put these things down, that really helps take the burden off family members that may have to deal with decisions for you in a time of crisis.
Essentia offers advanced care planning classes online. Learn more at essentiahealth.org. For Medical Insight, I'm Louis St. George.
To learn more about this and other health topics, visit essentiahealth.org/medical insight.
Mom, I'm here. Mom, where are you? Help! Mom?
Without emergency protection, you risk your life. But with Life Alert, one press of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-458-9565. That's 1-800-458-9565. Call now, 1-800-458-9565. For a free brochure, call 1-800-458-9565.
The wildfire smoke was definitely thick out there this morning, especially in Duluth, where many sports open their fall seasons. Duluth East was set to host a cross-country meet at Lester Park Golf Course, but due to unhealthy air quality, it was delayed 2.5 hours. They had to wait until 1 o'clock to get going with their varsity cross-country season, but they did hold the meet. Coming out of the first loop of the 5K course was Duluth-Denfeld Xander Schroeder with a decent gap from the rest of the pack. Farmington's Mason Sullivan put together a great second loop, though, and opened up a big lead to win with a time of 17 minutes, 8 seconds. Schroeder was 10 seconds behind him in second, and in third with a time of 17:32 was Charles Juntonen, sporting some high-quality shades. On the girls' side, a little bit of light rain, but besides the air, some great running weather. Coming out of the first loop, a strong pack of runners from Farmington and Duluth East Anna Britta Helmer hanging tough in front. At the line, though, 4 Farmington Tigers pulled away, led by Mariana Scott with a time of 19 minutes, 30 seconds. In 5th place for the Greyhounds was Britta Helmer, 29 seconds back of the lead pace. Hibbings Gianna Vigoro was in 8th place with a time of 20 minutes, 49 seconds. After everything was finished with the races, Duluth East head coach David Wicker said a wildfire smoke delay was a first for him, waiting until the air quality index was down to a moderate 88 before giving the green light.
Fortunately, we were able to run, although we had a lot of, many of our runners didn't run because they and their parents decided that it was probably not a good idea because of the air quality, and that was fine. I mean, we understand that totally, but people from out of town got to run, and we got to meet in anyway, so that's good.
Wicker was especially thankful for his assistant coach, James Kaiser, who helped them monitor the unfamiliar air quality situation. Up at Brockridge football practice, the wildfire smoke has been making a big impact on their schedule. For the second time this week, they were forced to move their practice inside due to the smoky conditions. Instead of getting in high-intensity team and individual drill work, the Wolverines have been pushed indoors to do walkthrough and film work because they didn't want to push it too hard outside in the smoke.
We already have the dangers of heat, and now we're bringing smoke into it. So we try to update our phones as much as possible, listen to the AQI, listen to our trainer, and just be as safe as we possibly can, especially if it affects us and we're not even moving around as coaches as much as those kids. And when the kids start, telling us that kind of stuff, we're leery of it.
You can feel it in your eyes a little bit, and you can feel it in your lungs. It's really only been today and the other day where it's been this bad. And the other day we went inside, and today it just kind of rolled in. So now we're just heading inside. And other than that, it's been pretty sunny. It's been a little bit hot, which makes it a little more difficult. But other than that, we've been handling it pretty well.
Big G on 3, 1, 2, 3, Big G!
We'll have much more with the Wolverines ahead of their football season tonight at 10, as well as hearing from other high school athletics who are kind of battling this air quality. I have to say, after not having a season last year, and then, for example, the cross-country runners that they were supposed to start their season today, and now it's the air quality that makes them, thankfully they got their runs in, but I don't think there are many athletes out there that have endured as much as these high school athletes in Duluth, Minnesota. Kudos to all of them.
It's good character building, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But we're just happy to have it back and praying for, that we can continue into the fall sports season.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Kelly. Tonight on the CBS3 News at 10, as the extreme drought in Minnesota carries on, ranchers caring for livestock are being put in a dire situation. Tonight, we'll hear from one rancher who is not sure if they'll be able to financially survive the drought. Well, Dave, between wildfires and drought conditions, we certainly could use more rain.
And I hope we get more rain over the weekend. The chances look fairly good. Today is just the start. Started at a 30% set of odds, going up to 50% overnight, and then turning into 60% on Friday. So hopefully that air quality problem can be lifted by tomorrow afternoon as we clean the sky with a little bit of precipitation. As far as rain totals go, through persistence through Sunday, if we're lucky, we could get at least an inch. And that'll definitely help solve the troubles we're facing. By Monday, though, it warms up and dries up once again.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 10.